In this video, I'm going to do a demo of how to use my budget template. So we're actually going to go through setting up your very first budget using the Budget Bounce budget template. So stick around. Hi friends, and welcome to the Budget Bounce. If we haven't met yet, I'm Jen, and we talk all about living life on a budget on this channel. We're talking about money pretty much all the time. And we're talking about how we are saving it, how we're spending it, how we are paying down debt, how we are setting ourselves up for our future after we found ourselves in a huge hole in our mid-40s. So we are trying to undo the damage we've done and come out the other side ahead of things. And using this budget template is like one of the best things we've ever done for ourselves. This this template in particular has had several iterations over the last couple of years, and this is by far the most functional, and I love using it. I'm down to only entering our numbers in one place. I literally used to put them in 3. Now I'm doing it all in one place, and I find it to be a great tool to create our roadmap every month on how we are going to spend our money and make it work for us. So we don't have to wonder where it all went, because we lived that way for 9 years. And that is what landed us in a mountain of debt, over $250,000 of debt, not counting our mortgage. So I'm going to talk about this today so that you can plan out and meet whatever financial goals it is that you have for yourself and your family. So let's get into it over here on the big monitor. All right, guys, so we're going to jump into customizing the Budget Bounce budget template. This is how you're going to get it set up so that you can use it month after month. So during this video, I'm going to show you how to customize the budget categories, customize the line items within each budget category, customize your spending categories. I'm going to include timestamps in the description below, so you can check those out if there's something specific that you're looking for. All right, I'm over here now looking at my big monitor and showing you the budget template. So you can see I have it open here. And if you look down here, there are 3 tabs. There is the instructions tab, which is where we are now. We have the budget template itself, and then we have the data validation tab. So I'm going to go through each one of these throughout this process. Before we make any changes, we want to go to the instructions page. This page is so important and vital to you being able to get this the way that you want it. So the very first thing we have up here is make a copy of this template and work from that so you always have this template available to you. To make a copy, you will go to File, up here in the top left, and I apologize, my cursor's moving really slow today. Make a copy. And when you do that, this dialog box is going to pop up, and it's going to call it the exact same name with the words copy of in front of it. You can leave it at this name, or you can change it. For me, I'm going to change it and call it my budget. Now, it's going to upload it to the server that you were in at the time that you created it or that you opened it. And you'll see it's working here. See it spinning up here at the top. Then the yellow saying still loading. Now it's working. Okay, and it's finally done. You can tell when it stops spinning up here and you get the Google Sheets icon up here, you know that it's done. So now we have the one that the copy that we just made, plus we have the one that you downloaded from me. What I'm going to suggest is that you immediately go and close the one that you downloaded so that it's there and you are sure that you're not going to touch it. That way you'll always be working on the new one that you called My Budget and not be in the wrong one. All right, looking at this set of instructions, we want to customize the template for the first time. This is setting up your first budget on the budget template tab. So you want to update the category names. This is the budget category names to those that work best for your personal budgeting needs. You want to update the line items within each category in the source column with the names that work best for your personal budgeting needs. You can add rows, delete them, do whatever you need. You want to update the drop-down lists in the category column in the spending section so that you can say this is groceries, this is miscellaneous, this is my Capital One credit card, this is my emergency fund, whatever it is, You need to be able to categorize every single expense that you track. And then you need to update the formulas for the items that you changed in number 2 when you were updating the line items within each budget category. Right now, that probably seems overwhelming, but I'm going to walk you through each one of these steps. Okay, so here on the budget template tab, and what you see here is Canvas, and you get this whatever you need it to be for you. So let's just take a look at what we have here. And if you haven't already watched my overview video of how this template functions, I do recommend that you watch that, and I will include the link down below so that you can see that. And I'm at so you'll get a link to the playlist as well so that you can see all the videos in one. But this is the second video in the playlist, and we are talking about customizing the template to get set up your first monthly budget. So the first column is the budget categories, and that's what we need to look at first. We have income. Everybody hopefully has some income. That's what we're trying to budget here, is how are we going to spend that income? I then set up several other categories here that many of them we use ourselves, plus I added in some generics. So I have giving, housing, transportation, then we have food, kiddos, pets, insurance, entertainment, health, envelopes, then 3 generic category names, then savings, sinking funds, and finally debt, along with all of our wrap-up details down here at the bottom. So what we need to do is customize these columns. So I'm going to make this just a little bit bigger for you. All right, so income is income. I don't know what else you might call that, but you can call it whatever you want, honestly. We have giving, and then we have housing. All of these are basic. Transportation, food, kiddos. If you want to rename these, literally, if you want to call this kids instead of kiddos, just type over the top of it, kids, and hit enter, and it will change it to kids. If maybe you have a lot of hobbies that you and your family partake in, maybe you want to have a hobbies section. So I'm going to scroll down here to some of the blank ones. Here we go, the generic, and we're going to call this hobbies. So you can call these whatever you want. If you don't need an envelopes category, then you don't have to have an envelopes category. So let's just talk about that. So I've set up hobbies, but I don't need these. Let's say you don't need these extra 2 category names. So what you can do is take your cursor and put it on the number of the row. This is a row, and then these are columns. Each of these are columns. So you want to put it on the number of the row, hold the left mouse button down, and then scroll down, and you're dragging the highlight here all the way down to the bottom of the second category. Then you'll be somewhere here in the numbers again of the rows, and right click, and then you can click delete rows. And when you do that, it's going to get rid of those, and now they are gone. So you can do this however you need to. All right, so we're back over to the instructions because we have now done number 1, update the category names to those that work best for your personal needs. Now we need to work on number 2, which is updating the line items within each budget category. So let's go take a look how we would do that here. We are back to the top. Let's start with the income section. You want to get these labels so that they represent things that mean something to you. If paycheck 1 and paycheck 2 is good enough for you, great. But if not, the way we do it, just as an example, we do Matt doesn't get first. I do these in chronological order and how we get them during the month. So Jen check 1. If you happen to have some side hustle income, you can also list those here in this income section. And this is where you want to start because you want to be identifying your income in this section so it will populate over here. So let's say you drive for Uber and maybe you deliver for Instacart. So maybe you've got some side hustle income coming in from those 2 places. So now you have those established and you can be tracking that each month. So let's come over here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the cell and pull it down to highlight all of the cells, then right click, copy, Then over here, I'm going to do the same thing, highlight the cells, and then right click, and I'm going to do paste special, values only. And the reason for that is because this is formatted very differently than this, and I don't want this formatting over here. So if you do the values only, it will only bring what is in the cell. It says Jen check 1, just whatever that looks like, it's going to copy it in here without the formatting. And now we have it aligned. You can decide if you need to have sinking funds, emergency fund, other income 1 and 2. You can change these however you need. I like these here because sinking funds, if I have to use money from a sinking fund during the month, it becomes income and I need to reflect it in this section. So I have, while I have to fill in here what I think I'm going to use from sinking funds, this is a formula that will actually pull it in based on what I actually enter into the budget template. We'll get into all of that later. So that's income. And then down here, let's just run through these really quickly. I'm going to make a couple of changes so that you can see how you can customize and follow through all the way through all of your customization to make sure that it all aligns. So we have general giving, this birthday, weddings, graduation hours, and then holidays. And we're going to add tithing to this. And when you do this, you want to make it red or you want to do something to make it stand out so you know to come back to it because you're going to need to do something with this row later. So I'm going to just make it red. So you come up here, you see the letter A with the bar under it. It's for the text color. And I'm just going to make the text color red so it'll stand out for me. In housing, I'm going to add home security. We're going to make that red. And then I'm going to leave everything else that's here, and I'm going to go all the way down to the debt section and add some debts in here. I'm going to change this to student loans, car loan, medical bills, and then I'm going to change this to, we'll call it credit card 1. We're going to highlight all of these and make all of them red at once by going up here and changing the text color. And so now I have finished customizing my line items within each budget category. You will want to, I'm not going to walk through each section here. You will want to go through this and update every line as you need it. If you find that there are lines in here that you don't need, like I don't need the other savings 1 and 2. Okay. You don't have to have the other savings 1 and 2. You can get rid of those. So you can do a couple of things. You can just highlight these 2 and hit the delete key. And now they're gone and you have 2 blank lines and you don't have to look at that. And it makes it a little cleaner. If you don't want to have to deal with the lines, let me say this. I have found it best practice to always leave a blank line in every budget category. I'm going to follow that since that's my practice. If you want to get rid of a row, you can come over here. We're going to get rid of row 93. We're going to leave 94. So if you want to get rid of a row, you can highlight it, then right click on it and click on delete row. And then you only have the 1 blank left. If you need to add a row, you can do this a couple of different ways. Let's do it here in the retirement section, the retirement line, excuse me. You can add a row either above this or you can add a row below it. We're going to add it above because I like to keep things in alphabetical order here. They just logically, for me, that's how my brain works. You can do this any way you want. I'm going to put one in here and I'm going to do insert 1 above. And when I insert 1 above, now I have a blank and I can come in here and I can add my label for whatever it is. Now, when you have your label here, you want to make sure that you make it red. So I did that, and I also have gone through and I have cleaned up each of the sections and gotten rid of the extra things, but left that 1 blank line. I've left the 1 blank line just in case I need it. I just like to have it there as a cushion. And that's how you customize your budget line items within each budget category. So here we are back over at the instructions because we now need to go to number 3, which is updating your drop-down lists in the category column within the spending section. And you need those to match the line items in the budget. So let's take a look at how that's going to work. All right, so here we have our spending category, and you can see we have a place to enter the date, the description, the amount, and the category for each expense. So if you had, today is, let's say it's 12/20/2020, and maybe you bought something at like Kohl's or Target or something, and it was $20, and you need to categorize that. This is a gift for your dad. It's 12/20. Maybe it's a Christmas gift, so it's holidays. So how are you going to categorize that? Well, you want the categories here. Let me show this list. You need to have the categories here line up with what you have over here in your line items, not in income, because income is not listed over here. But you need to make sure here we have a holidays line item, so we need to have a holidays over here. Because let me show you what happens when I select holidays. And I know it looks weird because that stayed even though we moved over, but I'm going to select holidays. And so it's going to populate over there. And did you see what happened right here? $20 populated all by itself. And it's because we entered holidays here. So if you select the wrong thing by accident, you can delete it or you can go select something else. But I deleted it here, and let's show you what happened over here. Holidays now is back to 0. So that's why this is so important over here. We have to have these categories in the spending section align with what you have in your line items inside of each budget category. So how do we do this? How do we get this? Because remember, we took debt 1, 2, 3, and 4, and they're called something else now. So how do we get this updated to what we need? Let me show you. We go to the data validation tab and look. And we have a list here. This is just a list of everything that we had originally in the line items, plus some more. It's just a list. And anytime you make a change to this list over here, it will affect this list over here. So let me show you. Accident insurance is here. Let's delete accident insurance from here. Now let's go back over to the template and drop the list down. Accident insurance is no longer there. It's gone. Let me show you another change. I'm going to undo. By the way, if you do something and you want to undo it, there's an undo button up here. Let's say I want to make this all caps instead. So accident insurance. When I come back over to the template, there it is. Whatever you do on the data validation tab, it will immediately update the list in the spending category. This is fantastic that it does this, but can also be a bad thing if you aren't paying attention and you do something by accident. This is really important to our formulas. This is why this is so important. So let's go in here and let's take a look at what we need to update. I'm going to go back over to our line items. So the first thing we did was we did tithing. So in giving, this was actually called Other Giving 1. And you'll see here on the list, there is an Other Giving 1. So let's go over here to the Data Validation tab, and let's change that to tithing. Oops, still in all caps here. Now, when we come over and look for tithing, there it is. In the Other Giving 1 spot, there's tithing. Notice that is not in order. That is not alphabetical. I don't know about you, but I would not look for tithing in the middle of the O's. So we need to get that where we want it. So let's just go see how we do that. If you highlight this column, and then if you do data, sort, I would do sort range by column A. I don't like to sort the sheet because I'm not always sorting everything that you see here. I want to sort the range by column A. We are in column A, and it'll be A to Z. So now tithing went away here. Should be down here in the T's. It's the only T. And when we come over here, it will be moved down here to the T's. So that was how we wrote over the top of an existing item. Let's go see what else we need to update here. We have tithing. We have home security. This was in other housing 1, but maybe you forgot there was other housing 1 and you add it to the list and you go, okay, home security, and you enter it here. Now, when you do it this way, it's going to be at the very bottom of the list. And so we may want to alphabetize, put it here and then alphabetize. But there's another way that you can do this. You can actually go up to the H's, find where it needs to be. So home security is going to be before homeowners/renter insurance. So if we want to put something here between holidays and homeowners, you can click either one of these, but I'm going to click homeowners and I'm going to right click and I'm going to say insert one above. And then I have a new row and I can put in home security here. And when I come over here to look at spending, I will find home security in the H's, right where I want it. I've showed you how to write over the top of something that's already here. I've showed you how to insert a row if you need to insert a row to add an item. I've showed you how to alphabetize. Now let's talk about getting rid of things that we don't need. So I'm just going to we haven't updated everything yet. So let's go in here and I'm going to create something called label. So let's go over here and do label. And then we have down here, and we have student loans, car loan, medical bills, credit card 1. So let's see if we have any of those. So do we have student loans on here? We do not. So you can do this one of two ways. You can add it right here, or you can go up to debt 1 and you can write over the top of it, which is what I'm going to do right now. Let's look for car loans. So we don't have car loans, but we have car payment. So what we can do, it needs to match exactly. It has to match exactly, and I'll show you. I'll give you an example of why. So we're going to do car loan here. Then we don't have to move this. Where student loans, we're going to have to re-alphabetize to get it in the right place, but this one, it's already in the right place. What was debt 3? Was medical bills. Let's go to debt 3 and do medical bills. And then over here, credit card 1 was number 4. I'm going to alphabetize. There we go. When we come over here, everything that we need, car loan. Notice the things I wrote over the top, like numbers 1, 3, and 4 are gone. We have car loan, we have medical bill, we have student loan. Student loans we're almost there. There we go. And then the last one was credit card. There we go. Credit card 1. So they are all there now. But we have a whole bunch of things in here that we don't need. So how can we get rid of those things so we don't have to look at them? Because I don't know about you, but I like to keep things as concise as possible. So let's go over to data validation. And if you don't need debts 10 to 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 are the ones that are left, just remember how I showed you? You left click on the number of the row and then drag down to highlight them all. And then you can right click and click on delete rows. So let's go over and look at the list now. And notice all of those debt lines are gone. All those debt categories are gone, excuse me. So I'm just going to go do that to clean this up so that we don't have to look at so much stuff when we're doing the spending section. All right, so we've talked about how to write over the top of an existing item that's in this list. We have talked about the effects of making any changes to the data validation tab on what those changes are on this list. I've showed you how to insert a row to add an item, how to delete a row to get rid of items, and I've shown you how to alphabetize this list. That is how you will customize your spending categories. So now if you've gone through that, you have it all set up. I'm going to add holidays back in here and show you one more thing. So when I drop this down here, I can't see holidays. So I can scroll down. I can scroll down and get to whatever I need. Or I can start typing holidays. And when I type an H, anything that has the letter H in it appears. And now your list is much shorter and you can just go here if you want. So type in, click holidays, and then it will populate. And then over here, it populates the $20 again. And that is how you customize your categories and use it to search for the categories that you need to assign. Next up in customizing your budget template for your needs is to update the formulas for the items that you changed in number 2. This was about the line items within each budget category so that they reflect, you want these to reflect exactly what you have in the data validation tab. So let's go back over here and talk about that. Now, I do want to point out, I haven't shown this, I've just been walking you through this, but there are some written instructions here on how to do these things as well. So they are included, and this one even has screenshots where we're getting into the formulas to show exactly what to do. If you don't have access to this video or don't want to watch the video again, you have it within your budget template file that shows you how to do these things. So here we are back over on the budget template, and we need to get tithing into the spreadsheet so that it will pick up properly over here. When we look at these, there are some formulas here. So this one has an equal in it, and that means it's going to look at cell G, column G, in row 99, and it's going to pull in whatever's there. And right now there's 0. So that's why it's pulling in 0. Some other formulas that we have, this is a sum, and so it's going to add up everything that shows up in this column. Just because there's nothing in it doesn't mean there's not a formula. There are formulas in each and every one of these. This is a formula. It's the actual minus the budgeted, and then you have your whatever the outcome is. So if this is 1 and this is 2, it will update to -1. So we need to get tithing updated. So let's take a look at these formulas. So this is a sumif formula, and what this does, so it really pulls everything from the spending category that's over there. It pulls it all in here so that you don't have to key it in. You've already keyed in the spending once. You've tracked all your spending. So all your bills, all of your, whatever spending you're doing, all of that's going to be tracked in the spending section. So now we want it to populate over here. We have tithing. And if you look at this formula, what this is saying is, if I look over in this range of P, column P, rows 3 through 182, and I find it currently says other giving 1, then it's going to pull in whatever is in column O, rows 3 to 182. So let's look and see what that looks like. Let's translate that for you. This is going to look over here so you can still see the formula. Okay, so it's saying for P, column P, rows 3, this is row 3 here, it will get rid of the formula, all the way down here to row 182. You'll see it's a long way down here. All the way down here to line 182. It's looking in this whole column right here, and it's looking right now, the way it's written, it's looking for other giving 1. So if you don't select other giving 1 for anything over here, it's not going to populate it over to the left. But if it finds other giving 1, like if this said other giving 1, it would pull $20 in over here to the tithing. So what we need to do is we need to make this formula read tithing, because we don't have an other giving 1, and other giving 1 doesn't even make sense. We have a tithing. So we want it to look for tithing. So now we've updated the formula, and it's going to look in column P for tithing. And if it finds anything in column P for tithing, we'll just change this one to tithing. Let's type in TI. Oh, ITI. There we go. When I do that, now it populated the $20 in tithing, and notice it's not in holidays anymore because I got rid of holidays. So we need to do that for everything that we changed. We need to go in and update these formulas. So let's do the next one, which is home security. Again, we have other housing 1. Let's change this to home security. All right, let's scroll down and find the next one. We did that very generic label. Now this one is interesting because remember we added this row. We added this row, and also you've got some blank rows here that you might end up using. We added this row, and so now all of a sudden I don't have formulas in the same places that I do in the other rows. So we need to first get those formulas in there, and the way you can do that is you can do it a number of ways. But I would do Control-C on your keyboard, hold the Control key down while you press on the letter C, and then you'll get this border. Go to the cell you want to paste it to, and then hit Control and the letter V. And it will copy exactly what was in the other one. So this was investments. So because I copied it, this one's investments. We don't want it to be investments. We need to change it to label. So now anytime the word label is selected in the spending category, it's going to pull that in. Oh, the other thing I wanted to show you before we move away, you can easily pull this formula down doing the same thing, Control-C and then Control-V. Here's another little trick. You have to be careful with this, but you can also do this a couple other ways. You can come here and get that plus sign right there and pull it down, and it will copy it. Or, I'm going to undo. Or you can right click, click on copy, go to the cell you want to paste it to, and if you just want to do the formula, you can right click and do paste special, paste formula only, and then it'll paste the formula. So there's a number of ways to do a lot of things inside of Google Sheets and Excel. There's lots of ways to do things, so you choose what works best for you. Let's go down here and let's get these updated from Debt 1 to Student Loans. I want to show you something really interesting here. I'm going to go put something in for each of these over in the spending category. In the spending section, excuse me. So we're going to have student loans, car loan, medical bill, and credit card 1. So in student loans, we're going to pay 100, car loans, maybe we're going to pay 200, and maybe, 75 to the medical bill and 150 to your credit card, just as an example. So when I update these, you can pull down and go find it. Car loan. For medical bills, I'm going to type in MED. So medical bill, and then credit card 1. There we go. Okay, now all of these numbers will populate over here because we've updated the formulas. Except, wait a minute, one of them did not populate. So why? Why would that happen? Let me show you. These formulas, especially a sumif where it's searching for something specific and it's going to bring you back data based on what it finds, it is looking for this exactly. Medical bills with an S. Medical bills. And I purposely did this so I could show this to you. So it's looking for medical bills, but that's not what we called that category. When we come over here, it's medical bill without the S. And that's why it's not finding it. So you can do one of two things. You can either go to data validation and you can change this to medical bills on data validation, Or you can update your formula so that you take out the S, and when you do that, enter, it will pull in the 75 because it now found medical bill over in the spending section. And that is how you customize your formulas so that they will make this spreadsheet work for you and function to its fullest capability. The last thing we need to do in regard to customization is just kind of clean things up so that you're ready to set up your first monthly budget. Or maybe you're going to use it by pay cycle, however you choose to use it. We use it monthly. That's why I always refer it that way. But the first thing we need to do is we need to go in here. All these things that we made red, we need to make them black. So we'll just change the text color to black because we've got them all set up now. So we don't need to keep drawing attention to them. All right, the next thing we need to do is address these reference errors. So what you're seeing here, these happened because we deleted some things that were included in a formula. And so it's saying that, hey, I'm trying to reference this cell and you deleted it. I can't find it. So we need to just get those out of there. And so we can just highlight these and delete them and hit enter. And then notice that it fixes the top one, which fixes the bottom one. Because if you have a reference here and this cell, this formula here and this cell references this one, you're going to get a reference here too. But once you fix where the root of the problem is, then you will not have any issues. Make sure you only have one comma between the two cell references. Hit enter, and then that should fix it. Now, as far as what's happening with these formulas and all that good stuff, I'm not going to go through that at this point in time because when we set up your first monthly budget, we're going to be talking about all of that. Another thing that you might see here is where you have the hashtag divide by zero error. This is because you can't divide by zero. And so this is going to show up until we get some numbers in here in the spreadsheet. So once those things start populating, then all of these errors that you see here will go away. And I'm not going to mess with that right now to show you, but when we go through setting up your first month, you'll see this happen. I hope that you found this video helpful in doing all of your customization in preparation to set up your first video. This is really the only time that you'll have to spend this much time working on just getting ready to set it up. From now on, it's only if you have a change, like here and there, that you will have to do this type of work again. But you have this video that you can come back to, and your budget template includes instructions that walk you through how to do each of these things. Remember, I have timestamps down below so you can jump to whatever you need to. I want to thank you again for buying my template on Etsy, and I hope that you find it useful and that it works well for you because it took me a long time to get it here, but it works fantastic for our budgeting style. So good luck to you living your life on a budget. I hope it works as well for you as it does for us. Next up, I am going to leave a link to the playlist for how to use my budget template right down here. So you just click on it and it'll take you to all of the videos in the playlist. So if there's anything that you've missed so far, you can find it. So click on this video right down here and I will meet you over there. This really pulls all your spending in from over in that spending category over off